Fox News alert, the commander-in-chief has just given the Navy shoot-to-kill orders. Any boat laying mines is subject to destruction, and there is to be no hesitation. A U.S. official tells Axios that the Iranian Guard was just caught laying mines in the Strait. According to the source, we know how many they dropped and where they dropped them. So the president's tripling the mine-hunting operation. The USS Chief and USS Pioneer, two Avenger-class ships, have been dispatched from Southeast Asia and have surged into the region. This fleet's coming equipped with special mine-hunting choppers, undersea drones, and surveillance aircraft and destroyers. 84 hungry sailors on each vessel. There was a little bit of a hiccup aboard the Chief after one of the sailors was scratched by a monkey during a stop in Thailand. He was on a beach and a macaque monkey drew blood. One source says normally you worry that sailors ashore would be at risk of catching a disease from some other activity, not from a monkey. That sailor's receiving medical care in Japan, and the Navy says the mission is full speed ahead. The lesson? Don't feed the monkeys. Also, a fleet of littoral ships are speeding to the Gulf. The two ships were spotted slicing through the Strait of Malacca. The president says the blockade's only going to get more agonizing.
We have total control of the Strait. And the fact that it slows, you know, they would have opened it up 3 days ago. They came to us and they said, we will agree to open the Strait. And all my people were happy. Everybody was happy except me. I said, wait a minute, if we open the Strait, that means they're going to make $500 million a day. I don't want them to make $500 million a day until they settle this thing. So I'm the one that kept it closed. We have total control of it. And it'll open when they make a deal or something else happens that's very positive.
According to an insider, the Iranians are going crazy over the blockade. Central Command says 33 ships have been turned around, and it's expanding. Overnight, U.S. forces carried out another maritime seizure of an Iranian shadow tanker, the Majestic X. She was loaded up with 2 million barrels of Iranian crude, and our Marines boarded her in the Indian Ocean. The gay Ayatollah just lost 180 mil. That probably could have bought him a new pair of lips. More on that later. Right now, we're watching 9 Iranian ships loaded up with crude near a port in Pakistan. If they can't sail, they can't sell.
Every story says, oh, Trump is under time pressure. I'm not, no. You know who's under time pressure? They are. Because if they don't get their oil moving, their whole oil infrastructure is going to explode. You know what that means? Because they have no place to store it. And because they have no place to store it, if they have to stop it, something happens underground that essentially renders it in very poor shape, and you never recover fully.
And this just in. CNN reporting the military is developing new plans to target Iran's capability in the Strait if the ceasefire falls apart. There are several sets of targets under consideration: the Mosquito fleet, mine-laying vessels, and other asymmetric assets on the coast. The new plans call for a much more strategic bombing campaign along the shoreline. We could also hit dual-use and energy infrastructure targets, target individual military leaders and other, quote, obstructionists within the regime who are undermining negotiations. That includes Sidi Vahidi, the head of the Guard. Additional U.S. strikes would also target Iran's remaining military capabilities, including missiles and production facilities that weren't destroyed in the first round. The U.S. Navy currently has 19 ships in the Middle East, including 3 aircraft carriers, plus 7 ships in the Indian Ocean. The USS Gerald Ford is anchored in the Red Sea, the Lincoln in the Arabian Sea, and now the USS H.W. Bush, for the first time, now involved in Epic Fury. The Nimitz-class carrier strike group was seen sailing in the Indian Ocean. And the USS Boxer roaring across the South Pacific, closing in on the Philippines. The 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit on board sharpening their weapons. The president says the Strait sealed up tight until Iran decides to come to a deal. There's just one, how should we describe it, challenge.
They know who the leader is in this country. We don't know who the leader is in Iran. Because remember, regime change. Khomeini is gone. He's gone to greener pastures. He's gone, and all of his team is gone. Then a second group came in. They're all gone. And now you have the third group, and they're a little concerned about being gone, too.
Sources tell the New York Times that the gay Ayatollah is a burned-up vegetable. He's missing a leg. has had 3 surgeries on the other one, surgeries on his hand, and his face and lips are burnt severely. So burnt that the Ayatollah can't talk and actually needs a facelift. There's no way of communicating with him one-on-one. Right now, not even guard commanders have access. They're worried if they go to his cave, Mossad will track it down and bomb it. So cardboard's underground, surrounded by a crew of Persian cosmetic surgeons. The only way of sending him a message? Handwritten letters delivered by a guy on a camel who avoids roads. Sources also say the supreme leader isn't in charge. It's like he's on a board of directors, but everybody else on the board, they're holding guns. The Israelis report that Iran's top negotiator, the parliament leader, has just resigned from negotiations. Now, Fox hasn't verified this, but remember, he was ready to fly to Pakistan before the guard put a gun to his head and told him to unpack his bags. Trump says it's getting a little crazy over there.
They have all new leadership, and they're fighting like cats and dogs for who's going to control, because we've created a real mess for them.
The president giving them some time to figure it out, and hopefully they have a come to Allah moment. We hope they do. But POTUS believes that time is on his side.
How long are you willing to wait until you get a unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. You know, guys like you want to say, oh, so we were in Vietnam like for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for all the, I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks, and their military is totally defeated.
2 years of COVID lockdowns. The media never asked, when is this over? 20 years of Afghanistan. The media never asked, how long is this thing going to take? What does Jeff need to do, pull over and use the bathroom? It's been 6 weeks. POTUS is giving the Iranians a few days to get it together, while the blockade's applying maximum pressure without firing a single shot. An economic squeeze to bring them to their knees. A majority of military analysts say Operation Epic Fury, followed by the blockade, has been a masterstroke. So MSNBC has to go out and find never-Trump generals to trash the mission.
You know, we just don't understand this enemy. We're not fighting a good, smart fight. Tactically, we're decimating them. But strategically, Iran has got the upper hand. We have no allies. We have nobody that's, I mean, our stock has gone down. The Iranians have gone up. And this is going to go on for quite some time. Like I said, day 54, the greatest geopolitical disaster in American history.
The greatest disaster in American history? Iran has the upper hand? Maybe if casualties start stacking up and a carrier gets sunk and we're still fighting Iran in a year, maybe then. Does this guy watch the Pentagon briefing?
159 ships are in the Navy. You know how many ships are at the bottom of the sea, Jeff? 159. So, you know, and if you read the New York Times, the failing New York Times, subscriptions are way down, as you know. That's because people don't believe the stuff anymore. If you watch CNN, you'd think that they're doing well in the war. They're not doing well. They're getting absolutely decimated.
The press has started booking John Kerry to brag. He's the best diplomat. He says we should go back to giving them free money and just let them cheat.
President Obama wanted to test the extent of diplomacy, and he was successful. We were all successful. What President Trump now has to do is, frankly, get them to again agree to what they already agreed to, which should underscore the absurdity of the situation that we're finding ourselves in.
I have a feeling Trump's going to get a better deal now that Iran's disarmed and can't trade.
I ended the Obama horror show. The nuclear transaction that he made was horror. It gave him a road to the, you call it, I mean, what the deal that he did, the Iran nuclear deal, was so bad. It gave him a road to a nuclear weapon. And I will tell you, I deal with him. You cannot give Iran a nuclear weapon. This is all about a nuclear weapon. They cannot have the nuclear bomb, and they're not going to have the nuclear bomb.
The press, not worried about Iran's nuclear weapon. They're worried about ours.
Sir, would you use a nuclear weapon against Iran? You posted on Truth Social a few weeks ago.
We don't need it. Why do I need it? Why would a stupid question like that be asked? Why would I use a nuclear weapon when we've totally, in a very conventional way, decimated them? without it. No, I wouldn't use it. A nuclear weapon should never be allowed to be used by anybody.
You know who asked that question? We're pretty sure that was Jim Acosta's girlfriend. She works for PBS. Even though we defunded PBS, they're still on the air. Go figure. The president could annihilate Iran whenever he wants. Kind of already did, but it could be so much worse. He's been patient, proportional, practical. No president's ever beaten Iran on the battlefield. And no president has beat them at the negotiating table, so we'll see if Trump can go 2 for 2. If Trump can negotiate their uranium away, the key deal, it'll be one of the greatest military feats in American history. It'll be up there with Jefferson taking down the Barbary pirates, and up there with Trump taking down Maduro. The president knows the stakes.
I don't want to rush it because you guys are, trying to make us look as bad as possible. I don't want to rush it. I want to take my time. We have plenty of time, and I want to get a great deal. I want to get a deal where our nation and the world is safe from lunatics with nuclear weapons.
The markets, they're bullish. Yesterday, the S&P and NASDAQ hit all-time highs.
It's a success story if you're in the White House right now, the stock market is, and you can see it right here. Okay, S&P 500 shifts at this point in a presidency. Coming into today at the close of yesterday, look at this, up 19%. That is higher than the average president since 2001, when it was up 15%, and way, way higher than the average presidency since 1961, up 6%. So this stock market has been up like a rocket, and no wonder the president of the United States wants to talk about it.
They predicted $200 barrel oil. Didn't happen. They predicted a recession. They predicted mass casualties. So far, none of that's happened. So why trust the people who keep getting it wrong? How could you have the upper hand when you don't have a hand, legs, or lips? Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.